Our next speaker is Dr. Eve Fesl. She's an elder for the Gubbi Gubbi people, and Eve is going to be talking to us about the significance of Dala. Please welcome Dr. Eve Fesl.
Wanya, everyone. That's hello in Gubbi Gubbi. Let's hear it. Wanya. This is the story of Dala. Dala is our name for the lungfish. And I'm going to read this, which I had printed. It was on the 23rd of April, 1823, that the life of my Gubbi Gubbi people changed forever. Before this day, we walked our land along the beaches, through the mountains and along the rivers, staying only short times in various places. We harvested from the land and followed the seasons, picking the fruits and fishing the streams as food became plentiful. However, on that day, 3 white men were washed ashore. They were criminals who had been sent to collect wood in a boat. A cyclone had washed them north from Sydney until, exhausted and starving, they ended up on our land. We nursed them back to health and showed them around, not knowing that when they were picked up by Matthew Flinders in his ship, they would tell all about the wonderful harbour at Redcliffe and persuade their people to establish a penal colony there. This they did. But 2 years later, it was decided that the area known as Brisbane would become the colony under the control of a brutal man who became known as the Tyrant of Brisbane. Gubbi Gubbi were first forced north and kept away from this part of our country. The Turrbal and Jagera people were also forced away from their traditional lands. Gubbi Gubbi fled to safer areas around today's Kenilworth and the Mary River. My mother, Evelyn Monkland, my uncle, Clifford Monkland, and other members of my family were born on the banks of the Mary River, which we call Mamabala. My grandmother wove shelter covers from blady grass and used paper bark as a soft bed to lie on. At night, the family would see the reflection of stars in the water and hear the ripple of the water and the occasional explosion of air as Dala, our sacred fish, chose to come to the surface to expel the breath from his lung. It was at these times the children would be told the story of Dala, as they lay under the stars and beside the run forest with its night-bird calls. The children listened to the story of the beginning of our culture. About 4 million years ago, there was no life on Earth. There was plenty of water, but the land consisted only of sand and hills with no plants. Our great spirits looked down, deciding that something must be done to this land, which we now call Australia. The land is situated on what is known to us today as the Precambrian Shield. Of all the areas in the world, because there had been no steep volcanic upheavals in Australia, Australia was capable of sustaining life across its surface. Therefore, the decision was made to begin life here, in the Mary Valley. Firstly, the creation spirits ordered that there be water plants in the sea. Then about 3 million years ago, they created fish which could live off the sea plants. This is known in non-Indigenous time as the Devonian time. To Gubbi Gubbi, however, it is known as the creation time, the beginning of life. A plan was made for at least one fish to come out of the sea. Firstly, they gave it a lung so that it could breathe the air outside the water. Then, so that it could crawl onto the land, they gave it a backbone or vertebrae. And so Dala was made and became the first vertebrate creature in the whole world. However, the great spirits realised there had to be further in the land for the creatures which were to come. Land plants were encouraged to grow. These would provide food for many of Dala's descendants, the largest of which were the dinosaurs and giant marsupials. Dinosaurs and giant marsupials descended from Dala. Our people were developed, some of whom rode giant wombats. which, like today's smaller wombats, were gentle creatures. Just near Melbourne Airport, the skeleton of one of these giant wombats was found. When I'm in a plane coming into Melbourne Airport, Tullamarine, I look over the land to see where the giant wombats once roamed and think how the means of transport have changed. As with other fish when he was born, Darla would forever have to breed among the shallow water weeds like those present prior to the Devonian time. His main home today is in the Mary River, and if you paddle a canoe along the waterway, often Darla will come up to the side of the canoe to be stroked. Groups of Darla always come to us today when our families meet by the Mary River, which we called Mamabala, which means two tides. We had always been told that we must protect Darla and the places where he and she breed and feed from, the shallows where the water weeds grow. Darla is a slow-growing creature, taking 2 years to reach 1.2 centimetres, living up to 100 years old. To us, he was always a wonderful creature. But it is only recently that overseas scientists have said that Darla is the ancient genome of all creation of vertebrate animals. It is from the care by Gubbi Gubbi and our great spirits that we have Darla living in Mamabala today. White people have taken the land by the river, so we cannot live by the river today, but we meet there for picnics and get-togethers. When we do, lots of Darla appear, a reminder of days gone by. And I've written a poem dedicated to Darla and Mamabala. She is the artery pulsing life through the veins of Gubbi Gubbi Junangu, touching our birthplaces, the sacred pools and spiritual places as she flows. She gives succour to the rainforests and special trees that cradle bones of our past generations. In her womb she bears Darla, who, like a whisper from a long forgotten past, symbolises the wisdom of our elders, directed by the ancestral spirits to bring life from the sea to the vertebrate creatures on the land. Flowing through time, our duty is to care for Mamabala and to care for Darla, and it is your duty too. She is the symbol of our past, our present and our future. She is Mamabala, Mother of the Sacred. Garwin Mamabala.